Hi everyone, Charlene Ortiz here. Today we're going to do an instructional video on the most common back exercises that people do in their workout regimen. Keep in mind all these exercises that I'm going to go through with you today, you can also do at the gym. When I use the tubing, it actually imitates a cable machine, like how you would use a cable machine. And so you can incorporate all these different movements and rules to the exercises that you do at the gym if you are someone who does go to a gym. Because in general, the rules for these movements are always going to be the same, no matter what type of position or machine or form that you perform them in. So we're going to review just a basic row, a rear delt row, a lat pull down, as well as a reverse fly. And these are also exercises that I'm going to be incorporating into a lot of my full body circuit training workouts, especially the one that I'm going to be doing later this week or in the next couple days. So you definitely want to make sure that you feel comfortable with these movements and you practice them really well, so that way when you go on to my full body circuit training workout, my more advanced one that I'm going to be doing later, you'll feel comfortable and ready to do these movements throughout the workout. Okay, so first we'll start with just the basic row. All right, so I just have my tubing shut into the door here. And so with the basic row, you want to make sure, and this is going to be, again, just a general rule with all the exercises that you do. You want to make sure that, because the row is going to be, the primary muscle we're focusing on with the row is the rhomboid muscle, which is in between your scapula right here. So you want where the tubing is lined up to line up with your shoulder blades, because the shoulder blade is what's actually going to contract and engage the rhomboid muscle. So we'll start with just first the basic row. The bicep muscle, the medial deltoid, the rear deltoid as well, the trapezius muscle, those will all be accessory muscles to this movement. The lat muscle will also be like a stabilizer muscle as well. So there's actually a lot of muscles engaged with this exercise, but the rhomboid is the muscle that's doing most of the contraction. Okay, so I'm in my neutral, so my shoulders are back and down, my belly button's pulled in tight. And if you watch any of my videos, you should know what neutral spine is and transverse abdominis activation. You should be familiar with that. And I'm just getting into my lifting stance, my knees slightly bent. Again, my belly button's pulled in tight. Before I begin my row, I'm going to do a retraction. We're going to bring my shoulder blades together without bending my elbow, and then just bringing the tubing just a little bit past my body. Or my elbows are coming a little bit past my body. Okay? And that's what's really going to get a good full contraction for the rhomboid muscle, as well as the lat. The lat will also engage when you're doing this movement as well. And that's why I kind of have the tubing a little bit lower, so that way the lat muscle can also get a little bit of a workout as we're doing this movement. Another tip that you want to make sure you're aware of is where your wrists are at. You don't want your wrists curled in like this. You want to keep your wrists in a neutral position where it's just kind of in a natural neutral state. But a lot of people will have a tendency to curl their wrist in when they perform a row. But you want to make sure the wrist stays in neutral. Another tip is to keep the elbows in close to your body. We don't want them out to the side. Now, when we go to rear delt row, it's going to be a totally different set of rules. But for this type of basic row, we want the elbows in close to the body. So again, the rhomboids, the lats are going to be getting a nice contraction while we're performing the movement. Okay? So again, we're going to retract. My elbows stay straight with the retraction. Pull back. Elbows coming a little bit behind the body. And then we're going to release till the arms are straight. Okay, so that's going to be your movement for a basic row. Again, the rules for this movement is going to be the same no matter what position you perform the row. If you're doing like a bent over row or you're doing a machine row, the rule will always be the same, because it's not about what machine you're using or what position you're in terms of how to do the movement properly. It's about the muscles. It's about the action of the movement that's important to understand how to do the action of the movement properly, and making sure every part of your body is in the appropriate position it's supposed to be in, and the parts of your body that are supposed to be moving are moving, and the parts of your body that are not supposed to be moving are not moving. And so again, the rules will always be the same no matter what position you're going to be doing your rowing. Now we're going to do a rear delt row, and because the rear delt's a little bit higher on your body, I'm going to elevate the tubing and adjust it a little bit higher. Okay, so this way it'll be, it's still a little bit too high. You bring it a little lower. All right, so this way it'll be in the appropriate alignment of for my rear deltoid, which is again all the way up here. And so, so a little bit lower. Okay, so you can see how easy it is to adjust it. It's not that difficult to adjust it. Okay, so this is a rear delt row, and this is going to be working your rear deltoid. And again, we want it to be a little higher so it's lining up with the muscle that we're trying to engage. For the rear deltoid, the rules are going to be different in the sense where we're going to have our elbows actually elevated and away from our body, staying parallel to the floor, okay? With the rear deltoid, we really want to make sure that those wrists stay in a neutral position, because the most common tendency with the rear deltoid is going to be this. A lot of people will do this and they'll elevate their shoulders. And so again, even though our elbows are elevated, the shoulders are not. The shoulders are still staying down and relaxed, because remember, that's still going to be our neutral spine. So as you can see, the rest of my body is staying completely stable, and that's just a basic rule. Whenever we're doing any type of movement, any type of exercise, the only part of the body that should be moving are the joints that actually contribute to the movement, which in this case is my elbow joint and my shoulder joint. So again, my elbows are staying parallel to the floor, and my wrists are staying in a neutral, and I have like a 90-degree angle. At this position, my elbow's at a 90-degree angle, and I'm bringing this back a little bit behind my body so I can really get a nice full contraction in that rear deltoid. So let it come back a little bit behind your body when you're doing the movement. So again, that's going to be just for a basic rear deltoid. And the rear deltoid is a very important muscle to strengthen, because when the rear deltoid is weak, this is what happens. Your shoulders are going to come forward, taking you out of neutral spine. So the rear deltoid, along with so many other muscles, but the rear deltoid, when it's strong, it's going to bring the shoulders back and more together, again, naturally putting you into your neutral spine, which is, obviously what we want. Okay, so the next exercise is going to be a reverse fly. The reverse fly is also going to be targeting the rear delt. However, although it is a good exercise for the rear deltoid, the rear delt row that I just did, it isolates the rear deltoid a little bit more, because with this movement, the tricep muscle is going to be more engaged, more of an accessory muscle, and there's not going to be as much shortening of the muscle with the rear delt fly. But it's still a good exercise for the rear delt. I still enjoy doing it. I do it all the time. And it's also going to engage the rhomboid muscle as well, because again, the shoulder blade is going to be, coming together and contracting. And so, again, it's still a good exercise for rear delt, but again, the tricep muscle will just be more of an accessory muscle with this movement. So with the rear deltoid, we're going to start with the tubing right next to our body, okay? And I have a space right here in between my body and the tubing, but where my arm is, it's just, parallel to my body right here. So I'm in my neutral, shoulders back and down, abs and tight, and I'm just going to bring it all the way out to the side, just like that. And again, the positioning is high enough so that it's in alignment with my rear delt. My elbow is just slightly bent, and my wrist, again, is staying in neutral. I'm not letting it curl in like this. I'm keeping it in its neutral position, okay? I'm going to give you a back view, a rear view of the rear delt. So again, I'm getting a nice full contraction, a full range of motion with this movement. And with the rear delt fly, the tricep, again, is an accessory muscle. And so you will get some tricep workout with this version of rear delt. And that's another reason why I like it and other people like this version of rear delt too, because the tricep gets a little bit of a workout. Even though it doesn't get as much shortening on the rear delt, again, it still does engage, as well as the rhomboid muscle will engage too, which again are all muscles that are very, very important in helping you to develop a nice, strong, neutral spine. Okay, so now we're going to end with the lat pull down, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the camera over so you can get a better forward view of the lat pull down movement. Okay, so now we're going to end with just basic form for the lat pull down. And keep in mind, what I demonstrate here is also going to apply when you go to the gym as well. And so I'm just going to be using my handles and my tubing right here. So also if you're using a bar, you know, the lat pull down, the Nautilus machine with the bar, the same rules are going to apply. Okay, so always again in your neutral, your shoulders are back and down, your belly button staying pulled in nice and tight. My knees are just slightly bent, but some of you might be performing this sitting down. But either way, you still maintain your neutral. And my chest is popped out just slightly, although I'm not, you know, I'm not accentuating my arch too much. I'm still keeping my neutral, but my chest is popped out just slightly for this movement. So when you're bringing the handles or the bar down to your body, you want to bring it so that the bar will fall underneath your collarbone. That's what the alignment is going to be for a lat pull down. For my path of motion, my range of motion, I'm bringing my hands all the way to my shoulder. And if you focus on bringing your hands to your shoulder and let your elbow just kind of follow that natural line, it'll keep you in the appropriate path of motion for this movement. Meaning you don't want to be doing this, you don't want to be doing this. And so if you focus on bringing the hands to the elbow, it'll keep your hands to the shoulder, it'll keep your elbows in the appropriate alignment because we don't want them down, we don't want them up. Okay, so I'm gonna do just a few repetitions. And with the lat pull down machine, although it's a great machine, I personally use it all the time. One thing I like about doing lat pull down with a cable machine or doing with one handle at a time is that you can actually do more of a circular motion if you do one handle at a time, or you do it on a cable, where you can go a little bit more in a circular motion like this. And what this is going to do, it's going to get a little bit more of a contraction. Let me do this side so you can see my arm. It'll get a little bit more of a contraction if you allow yourself to do a little bit more of a circular motion, okay, if you want to get more engagement in that lat. The bicep will be an accessory muscle to this as well as the medial rear delta will be accessory muscles to this. And again, my shoulders are staying down and relaxed. So I'll just do a few more repetitions just so you can see a nice, what a set would look like. Again, knees slightly bent, abs in tight. Bringing it to underneath my collarbone. My full range of motion is going to be my hands coming back to my shoulder. As I pull it down, I'm going to breathe out and in as I release. Okay? So that will be the appropriate way to do lat pull down. When you're doing this movement at the gym and you're using the machine, you never, never, never bring the bar behind the neck. Never. That is a horrible way to do lat pull down. The bar or the handles only come to the front. They never go to the back for several reasons. Number one, as you guys already know, neutral spine is the foundation of everything that we do. So if we bring it behind the neck, we're not in our neutral spine. It's not a natural position. It even looks uncomfortable. It looks painful. Also, when you're doing a lat pull down movement, the same way we do a retraction with the row, we want to push the shoulder blades down with the lat pull down, and that's called a depression. And bringing those shoulder blades down like this, again, will help to engage the lat muscle, and it'll also keep the trapezius muscle down. So if we're going behind the neck, we can't do a depression where we're pushing that scapula down. Also, a lot of people will have a tendency to hit their cervical vertebrae with the bar, causing nerve damage. There's so many reasons why doing it behind the neck is horrible and it's totally wrong. So never, never, never do behind the neck. Again, a terrible way to do lat pull down. So, okay guys, so the lat pull down are all these exercises that we did today, the row, the rear delt row, the reverse fly, the lat pull down are all going to be exercises I'll be incorporating into future full body workouts, particularly the one I'm going to be doing, be uploading in the next couple days. So you want to make sure you're practicing these exercises because I will not be doing any instruction before I begin that workout. I'm going to go right into it. So you want to make sure you're comfortable with how to perform these movements properly. If you have any questions, please make sure you comment down below and I will address any questions or anything that I didn't answer you're still confused about. Please definitely let me know so I can make sure you're comfortable with how to do all these movements properly. So, okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate your time and attention. And remember, take care of yourself, protect yourself physically and emotionally. And don't forget, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.